Since decades, both Articles 370 and 35A have been subject of debate. The Kashmir dispute is a byproduct of the 1947 India Pakistan partition. So, what is Article 370 and Article 35A? How did Kashmir become a part of India? Why was it granted that special status? And finally, what are the implications of abrogation of Article 370 and 35A is what we will be dealing with in this video. So stay tuned till the end of the video and don't forget to like, share and subscribe to my channel for more such videos. When the British rule ended in India in 1947, the Indian Independence Act came into force. As mentioned in the earlier video, the Act not only gave birth to India and Pakistan, but it also allowed princely states to decide if they wanted to join India or Pakistan or remain independent. Maharaja Hari Singh, who was the ruler of Kashmir at that time, wanted to remain independent, and so he offered the standstill agreement to both India and Pakistan. While Pakistan agreed to sign it, India refused it. Shortly after which, tribal fighters from northwest Pakistan, supported by the Pakistani army and known as the Azad Kashmir Forces, attacked Kashmir. So in October 1947, the Maharaja of Kashmir requested India for military support, and India agreed to help only after Raja Hari Singh signed the instrument of accession with India. But the Maharaja agreed to it on certain conditions and signed it, therefore making Kashmir a part of India, after which India fought the troops and gained control over the valley. However, according to the terms of Instrument of Accession, Kashmir was promised autonomy and limited the parliament's power only to external affairs, communications and defense. After India gained control in the valley, in 1948, Maharaja Hari Singh announced the formation of the interim government with Sheikh Mohammed Abdullah as the Prime Minister and signed a proclamation making Yuvraj Karan Singh as the regent. And in 1951, the State Constituent Assembly was elected. Later in 1952, the Delhi Agreement was signed between both the Prime Ministers Pandit Nehru and Sheikh Mohammed Abdullah, giving autonomous status to the state under the Indian Constitution. Later, in 1954, the Jammu and Kashmir Constituent Assembly ratified accession of the state to the Union of India, after which the President issued the Constitutional Order of 1954 under Article 370 of the Indian Constitution. Finally, on 26 January 1957, Jammu and Kashmir's own constitution came into force, under which the elections for the state assembly was held for the first time. Article 370 is a constitutional provision that gave Jammu and Kashmir an autonomous status. However, it was incorporated as a temporary provision in Part 21 of the Indian Constitution. Thus, the article restricted the powers of the Parliament to enact laws in the state, and it required the state government's concurrence in order to apply laws except in the field of defense, foreign affairs, finance, and communications. The centre also had no power to declare a financial emergency under Article 360 in the state except for in cases of war and external aggression. Thus, the residents of Jammu and Kashmir were governed by separate set of laws, including that of citizenship, ownership of property, and even fundamental rights. Article 35A of the Indian Constitution empowers Jammu and Kashmir state legislature to define permanent residence. Any act enacted by the state legislature coming under the ambit of Article 35A cannot be challenged for violating the Indian Constitution. The permanent residents, according to the Constitution of Jammu and Kashmir, were persons who were state subjects in 1954 and had lawfully acquired an immovable property in the state. The permanent residents of Jammu and Kashmir have special rights and privileges in the state. They could get employment under the state government, acquire an immovable property in the state, settle in the state, and they had the right to scholarship and other forms of aid as provided by the state government. Having said that, women who married men from other states of India would be deprived of her rights in Jammu and Kashmir. The presidential order of 2019 was passed on 5th August under the power conferred in Article 370 of Clause 1, scrapped the previous order of 1954 nullifying the provisions of autonomy granted to the state of Jammu and Kashmir. Hence, Article 370 itself has not been scrapped, but the provisions of autonomy provided in the article to the state have been revoked. This means that the Indian Constitution and the laws passed by the Parliament will hereafter be applicable to the state of Jammu and Kashmir. Dual citizenship or the concept of permanent residence in the state no longer exists, making people of Jammu and Kashmir citizens of India only. Part 3rd of the Indian Constitution dealing with fundamental rights also extends to the people of the state. Hence, the discriminatory provisions of Article 35A have also become inoperative, and therefore the Constitution of Jammu and Kashmir stands void and nullified. The Presidential Order of 2019 seeks to add a new provision, Article 367 of 4, to the existing article that deals with interpretations. Article 367 of 4 states that Indian Constitution shall apply to the entire state of Jammu and Kashmir, and that all references to the Sadari Riyasat of Jammu and Kashmir in all official documents shall mean governor. Also, the references to the Constituent Assembly of the state in Article 370 of Indian Constitution shall now mean Legislative Assembly of state. Thus, the article does not modify the Indian Constitution as such, but it extends the Indian Constitution to Jammu and Kashmir as well. The Jammu and Kashmir Reorganization Act of 2019 bifurcates the state of Jammu and Kashmir into two union territories, Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh. While the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir will have a legislative assembly, the Union Territory of Ladakh will not have any legislative assembly and will be governed by the Lieutenant Governor. The new Union Territory of Ladakh will also include the districts of Leh and Kargil. The rest of the districts will remain with Jammu and Kashmir after bifurcation. Since Ladakh will not have any legislative assembly, the Lieutenant Governor of Ladakh will be assisted by advisors appointed by the centre, and he will be appointed by the President as per Article 239 of the Indian Constitution. While the provisions contained in Article 239 of A that are applicable to Pondicherry will be applicable to Jammu and Kashmir as well. This allows the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir to function as a legislative assembly under the Lieutenant Governor appointed. The Legislative Assembly can legislate laws in any matter enumerated in the state list under the 7th schedule except for subjects related to public order and police, which will remain in the domain of the centre vis-à-vis the Lieutenant Governor. In case of any inconsistencies in laws made by Parliament and the Legislative Assembly, the laws made by the Parliament shall prevail and not that of the Legislative Assembly. Previously, Jammu and Kashmir enjoyed an autonomous status, although it was an integral part of India. But now it has lost that status and become just like any other state in the country. That means that all provisions of the Indian Constitution will now be applicable to the state. Previously, the people of Jammu and Kashmir enjoyed a dual citizenship, but now the people will have a single citizenship, that is only Indian citizenship. Jammu and Kashmir will no longer have its own flag. The Indian tricolour will be its only flag from now on. Article 360 that was earlier not applicable to the state will now become applicable there. Indian citizens who earlier could not buy land or property in the state would now be able to purchase any property there. The provision of fundamental rights that were earlier not applicable to the state have also extended to the state now. Women from Jammu and Kashmir who married an outsider would lose her rights in the state before, but now she can retain all her rights even though she marries an outsider. The right to education and the right to information that were earlier not applicable will now become applicable in the state. Earlier, minorities in the state had no reservation, but now minorities will be eligible for reservation in the state. People living in the state since many decades, such as the Valmikis, could not vote in the state elections, even though they were eligible to vote for parliamentary elections. After the reorganization of the state, they can now vote for both the elections. Panchayats did not have rights like other states in India, but now they are eligible for those rights. Finally, the duration of Legislative Assembly that was 6 years earlier will now become 5 years in the new Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir. Article 370 was added to the Indian Constitution to provide autonomy to Jammu and Kashmir, but this contributed to creating a bridge between the state and rest of India. It failed to address the well-being of Kashmiris. Violence and insurgencies have become a regular affair there. The uncertain political status of Kashmir and Pakistan's use of terrorism in the state calls for a major change such as this. By ending the autonomous status and by ending discriminatory provisions of Article 35A, India wants to promote economic investment and jobs in the state so that prosperity and peace can prevail in the region. Also, the minorities such as Valmikis who do not get right to vote or buy property in the state can now do so. Previously, they could work only as Safai Karamcharis to be able to live in the state, which is a human rights violation, as they could not choose their field of occupation and live a respectable life. Central government schemes that were earlier not applicable to the state will now become applicable to all the people of Jammu and Kashmir as well. Thus, by bridging the gap and by completely integrating Kashmir into the state, India wants to promote peace and welfare of the people. The new order in 2019 had come into effect under Article 370 of Clause 1. However, Article 370 of 3 requires that the President shall seek the recommendation of the Constituent Assembly of Jammu and Kashmir before making any such changes. However, the notification suggests that the Governor's concurrence was obtained to render the provision irrelevant, but this is not sufficient. Moreover, the process has been pushed through without consultations with Kashmiri political leaders who have been put in detention since then. Thus, there has not been any representation as such from the locals. Hence, the due process of law has been questioned. Article 3 of the Indian Constitution says that before the Parliament considers a bill that alters the area of a state or the boundaries or changes its name, the bill must be referred to the state legislature by the President for expressing its views within a specified time. This provision, which is an important safeguard of India's federal system, has not been followed in this case, since there was no state assembly present at the time of passing this order. And the reduction of the state into a union territory will give a push to the concept of the constitution being more unitary. Thus, the way forward is that the government should focus in ensuring good education and employment in the state, and the government should come up with a comprehensive outreach program to gain the trust of Kashmiris and promote their welfare. On that note, I come to the end of this video. If you found this video useful, please like, share and subscribe to my channel. Thank you.